Welcome to the Koalafied Gamer Guys podcast. I'm your host, Steve, and with me, as always, is Neil. How you doing, Neil?
I'm doing great, Steve. How are you doing?
Good, good. I'm happy you're able to join me today after the accident.
The accident we will never speak about.
We will never mention it again. All right, we're starting it off as we always start it off because we like consistency. With this week in video game release history, so we're kicking it back 9 years, Neil. 9 years is going to date you once you hear what game we're talking about. It's Kingdom Hearts 2, which came out March 28th, 9 years ago. And we're still waiting for Kingdom Hearts 3. Which is coming. It'll be here one day. Kingdom Hearts 2, fantastic game. I know that the first one is one of mine and yours favorite games ever. Where's the second one stand in terms of, games you love? Is it high up there too, or is it,
Well, I gotta say right away, you just lied for me. I definitely think Kingdom Hearts 2 is better than the first one. I like it more, which I get a lot of heat from that because I know people say the first one's the best, but I think 2 hit its stride.
I think the combat in 2 is much better. I think that in every respect except for one, it is the better game, and it's the novelty factor. Like, that's what I think drew everyone into Kingdom Hearts 1, and just being so blown away by going to every world. I think that game just stuck with me more. That's why I remember it more. But Kingdom Hearts 2 is probably the better game with all the, they added a lot of stuff to the combat.
They basically took it and then they just made it all deeper and they made it more of a playable game. Not that the first one wasn't playable by any means, but they made it smoother in almost all aspects. Because you remember the gummy ship thing that between every world, and it got really tough. Really hard.
So you got the warp thing.
Yeah. So they did the thing where they're like, oh, we have to make this a little more game friendly, because the first one was actually really hard too.
Yeah, it was.
And it was total random in the first one. We're remember the very opening, they asked you a question and it was like, hey, are you afraid to be old or are you afraid to die or something like that?
Yeah.
And based off those answers, you would level up differently. Mm-hmm. And so if you chose wrong, you were kind of screwed because you always wanted this.
Yeah.
So it's random things like that.
When you were under the ocean or whatever, and you had to pick the sword, the wand, or the shield or whatever.
Yeah.
That determined what your strength was and what your weakness was. And as a kid, you're just sword and magic. Screw the shield.
I want to know the person who picked the shield. I was oh, definitely the shield. But we're talking about 2.
Yeah, we're just talking in general. I think about Kingdom Hearts because it's so good. 2 introduced those forms. I think they were called, right?
Ooh, those are really cool.
Where you had all these and Sora's outfit would change. There's one thing: Sora's outfit from 1 is better than his black outfit from 2. That is without debate. Okay.
I don't think so.
No, I love the original one with the big yellow shoes. He's he went all gothic in his teenage years in the second one.
Well, what I like is that he, the voice actor, whatever, the Sixth Sense kid.
Yeah.
He actually got a voice, and it wasn't a high pitched little kid anymore. It was
yeah, that's true.
And I really like 2. The way I described it with my friend, and this.
Do you like the opening of 2 though?
I was about to say the Twilight Town. I really like.
Mm-hmm.
With Roxas and Jesse McCartney, who is his voice actor.
Yeah.
And with the way that I described with my friend is that Kingdom Hearts 1 had the better individual planet stories. You were really invested in those.
Yes.
But Kingdom Hearts 2 had the better overarching plot, and then the small worlds you went to were just almost side missions to the main story.
Little diversions.
Yeah, so it wasn't as good if you were when you went to Mulan or whatever, you didn't really care because it was just kind of I want to get back to what's going on with Roxas and Twilight Town or anything like that. So that's what I really like, and that's when Kingdom Hearts starts to get really crazy. It's one of the hardest games to follow.
It is,
setting wise, and it's a kid's game technically, but I have no idea what's going on.
Kingdom Hearts 2 is fun. You get to work through and fight all the members of the organization. The worlds are good. Mulan, Lion King.
It was way more diverse in the fact that when you went to Lion King, you became the lion. The whole gameplay changed,
which was 100 times better than being a dolphin in The Little
Little
Mermaid.
Mermaid. The Little Mermaid in the first Kingdom Hearts was fun because it was still like a big ocean, and then the second one it was like a sing along. It was so
Yeah.
weird. It was like a quick time event sing along. No one could actually sing, so it made no sense.
Yep. It was terrible.
But
But
it was quick and you got stuff for it, so you had to do it.
yeah, it's true. What is your favorite out of the two games? What's your favorite world?
Oh man, that's tough.
I'll ask you two questions. What's your favorite world and what's your favorite song?
Favorite song is either going to be between, I think, Halloween Town.
Yeah, so
Or
good. Halloween Town song is so good.
so good, or it might be Travis Town because that's like for whatever reason that just comes with that kick of nostalgia every time. Unless we're talking about the opening, then by all means, that wins.
I think that my favorite song, here's a wild card, is the menu music from the first one.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
The piano, ding, 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 that one. Oh man, that's so good. My favorite town is Halloween Town for sure from the first one. Runner up, my favorite song would be Alice in Wonderland. I love that song.
Really? I can't even think of it right now.
Here's my rendition. It's like a lot of like violence.
Okay, that actually really worked. That was a good job.
Yeah, there's a lot of violence in it and like horns. It's really good.
Yeah.
That game's music, both of them are so good.
It's the person who's doing it is doing Final Fantasy 15. So
sorry, Neil, I don't care.
It's another reason. It's she does a lot of stuff that's incredible because there was just like an article about it.
I'd like to add another song is like that song like the one that woman sings, Simple and Clean.
That's what I mean, the opening. That
oh yeah, that one's so good.
Oh god,
you're giving me
the opening to those games. The opening
so
and the secret ending. Like here, so I think I told you this before, but for all our fun listeners out there, I don't know why you're fun, but you're fun today. So for all our listeners out there, I tried playing the first game, and I didn't finish it because I got to the Riku fight, finally beat that after like weeks of trying, and then had to fight the Devil Mountain guy from Fantasia or whatever. Could not beat it. Could not come close. Yeah, the gargoyle guy.
Okay.
And so I stopped and I was like, all right, whatever. I'm over this game. And then I watched my friend beat it and watched the secret ending, which is like double keyblades, dark hoods fighting on the side of a building. Mm-hmm. And this is, keep in mind, this is after the game Kingdom Hearts 2 already came out. We were just playing Kingdom Hearts 1, like finally going to play that game. Mm-hmm. So the second I saw that, I'm like, I have to go on and get this game. And I got Kingdom Hearts 2 the next day and just beat it. I think I beat it in a weekend. Mm-hmm. I think it was the last weekend before school. And I was like, I'm beating this game. And just like, I would set an alarm for 8 in the morning. I just wake up and I just play it like all day and then go to sleep.
Now, if you want to talk about secret endings, do you remember the secret ending of Kingdom Hearts 2? With the, like...
Birth by Sleep? The 3 people... It's in the desert, right?
Desert, yeah, they're meeting at desert and all the
Keyblade Wars?
Yeah, all the Keyblades are there. Yeah.
Yeah. And that ended up being Birth by Sleep, which was the PS Vita, PSP game.
I think, no, PSP, yeah, PSP. There's Birth by Sleep. There was Chain of Memories, which was the
card game.
Advance. There was 358 over 2 Days. That was the DS one.
Yeah, they have the greatest titles.
There's Dream Drop Distance was the 3DS one. There isn't a Vita one. I think I might be missing one in there. No, that's all of them. Birth by Sleep.
There's probably like some Japanese-only pocket
spin-off
edition game.
What great games, though. Like, honestly, what a great game.
I cannot wait for Kingdom Hearts 3. I think it's going to be... I mean, we've waited long enough, but I don't think they can mess it up, because I think the story is crazy enough and convoluted enough that, like, they could do anything with it and you'll just go with it, and now they have access to Star Wars and Marvel, and...
That's what I was going to say. Before we move off this, what world do you want to see in Kingdom Hearts 3? Knowing that they have all these properties, do you want them to branch off into Star Wars and Marvel, or do you want to keep it basic Disney?
I think they could do some really cool things with Star Wars.
I do too, but
I think it could also go very bad. Like, because Star Wars is a big world. Like, most games and movies and stuff take place in one area. Star Wars is literally planets and spaceships and stuff, so it might be a little hard to narrow it down. I think Marvel would be pretty cool if like you get the right superhero. I guess I don't know. Like they could get, it could go too far, you know. Like if they try to introduce like all the Avengers or something like that. But
well, mine is they own Pixar now too. I'd love to see a Toy Story World.
That's so much better. They'll probably go with that.
Andy's Room or something.
Just be miniature and just be
I'm
them.
just be miniature and like I'm thinking like Sid, like the main crux of it is like Sid stole someone and like you can have I would say probably Sid stole. Who would be join your party? Would you want it to be Buzz or Woody? Because then the other one would be stolen by Sid.
That's a good point.
I think Woody would be cooler. I don't know, Buzz.
You don't think Buzz with like lasers and stuff like that?
Yeah, but like Woody like rounding people up and shooting with revolvers would be cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I think like
such a good game.
Yeah, it's a good game, and there's so much more they can do with it now that I really can't wait. And hopefully we don't have to wait much longer. When do you think it will be released?
Like maybe like the first potential release date is probably fall of 2017, and I don't even believe it'll come out then. I think we're looking fall of 2018. I think
they're gonna finish Final Fantasy 15 first. Like I know it's kind of two separate teams, but I'm pretty sure it's the same director, or they're working together really closely on it. So I think that's gonna come out first, and they're gonna keep teasing Kingdom Hearts, and then like I'm gonna say a year or a year and a half after Final Fantasy comes out. So probably 2017.
It's gonna be no matter what. It's gonna be at least 10 years after the release of 2, which is insane. Like if you told 12-year-old me that you're gonna have to wait 10 years to play Kingdom Hearts 3, I would like kill myself. Because like as soon as 2 was done, I was like, oh, I can't wait for 3. And you just assumed because like Kingdom Hearts 2 came out what, like a year and a half after the first?
Yeah.
It was quick. And then like 10 years?
Well, and then they did the thing where it's like they tease you Birth by Sleep, which you think is Kingdom Hearts 3.
No, and then it's just a different game.
But it didn't even come out first. I think 358 Days Over 2 came out. So that wasn't even teased. We don't know how to say that.
I think it's 358 Days Over 2.
I love saying 358 Days Over 2 or 358 over 2 days because it makes no sense. It makes sense in the game. I'll say that. The game makes sense.
I didn't play it.
You didn't play it? It's each level is like a day.
Okay.
And it was extremely confusing. They introduced a new character who was another self-double of Sora or something like that. There was like, because you know how Roxas is split from Sora when he became a Heartless in the first game?
Yeah, you become a Heartless in Hollow Bastion.
This is, like, I'm pretty sure people question how nerdy we are. This is when it comes out, and they know when we're talking about Hollow Bastion, the splitting of the Heartless or whatever.
Yep.
Well,
I know exactly when it happens. It happens after you defeat Riku.
Absolutely, and you have to walk out of the castle as a little Heartless guy.
Yep. That's Hollow Bastion's music.
Oh, that's really good.
Really good.
But so Roxas, that's how Roxas was made, and then Roxas at one point gets split again or something. Someone gets split like a third time, and there's like a third Sora, but it's a girl, and she can do like this other stuff, and it's this whole, she has a certain amount of days to live, and it's counting down. It's a whole weird thing, but it gives you a really good background on Axel, who in 2, like, you don't really care about him, but after playing 358 Days, 358, 2 divided by 10 or whatever, it was, you get a whole new appreciation for Axel, and it made Kingdom Hearts 2 even better in that regard. Because it was all about the organization, and so it just taught you everything behind the scenes.
Here's my problem with 3, though. By the time 3 comes out, I'm going to fucking forget everything in 1 and 2.
I have no idea.
I don't remember what happens.
I know. I'm waiting for all the recap videos that are going to explain it all in 5 minutes and just be absolutely absurd. I don't know how. It's one of the craziest story arcs in like video games.
It is.
It really is.
All right. Well, I think we said we were going to talk about it for a while. I think we talked about it even longer than we thought we would. So, Kingdom Hearts 2 came out March 28th, 2006. Almost everyone I know has played it. But if you haven't, go play the first one, go play the second one. It is such a great game. All right. And also you can play them on your PS3 now.
I was going to say They're talking about remasters. They like remaster
Yeah,
so many games. How many times have they remastered Chain of Memories? It was a Game Boy Advance
I
game.
know. Then,
Game
yeah,
PS2.
yep, PS2 and then PS3.
Yeah,
Um,
it's not even a good one.
all right, time for some new releases. Turns out games come out every week. So
Sometimes.
well, yeah, we got first off, Life is Strange episode 2, Out of Time, Everything. Uh, Not to say much about it now, but Neil's going to be playing that. He'll have some reactions about it maybe next week, maybe the week after. Depends. Is that coming out today or is that coming out Friday again?
Tomorrow. So
Oh.
yeah, so I plan on playing it tomorrow, and
Okay.
so probably next podcast we'll be talking about it.
Okay. Yeah, you got plenty of time to finish that up. I'll leave these two for the end. I'll run through the others.
Okay.
So, Slender: The Arrival coming out. Is this just like the Slender game before?
Yeah, I think it came out for the PS3 first, right? Or is this delayed? There was a Slender game that was free to play that everyone loved, and then they're like, "Hey, people love this. Let's make a game with charging for it." And people were like, "We're not going to pay money for it. We just want to play the free game." More or less.
Yeah, I played it on the PC. It's scary, but it's pretty simple once you get used to the scariness of it.
Yeah, it's just the thought, I guess. But there's like a lot of knockoff ones that are like even cheaper, cheaply made, and some are like multiplayer, so you can have like 8 people walking around together, and like a demon like thing pops out and grabs one of them now and then. So you'll be walking and suddenly one would disappear from like behind you. So that's kind of cool that it almost spawned a new class in the sense that like horror game doesn't have to do with jump scares. It can be like something's following you the entire time. It's
a cool concept. It's a cool game.
Yeah.
Forza Horizon 2, present. Let's go.
Presents.
Bro. Yeah, you gotta put an S in there for me.
My bad. Let me put a space.
Forza Horizon 2 presents Fast and Furious for the Xbox One 360. Is this free or what is this? It's free, right?
It is free, I believe. I just got
it. It's like it's a tie-in.
Yeah, it totally is, but it's one of those things that's like get you talking about the game again.
Yeah,
and get you talking about the movie. So like
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, because there is a Fast and Furious game, and it's considered it instantly went into like one of the worst games of all time collection. Okay, one of those.
I don't remember that. What was it? PS2?
No, PS3. It's fairly recent.
All right.
If you look up gameplay for it, it's awful. Like absolutely, it's terrible. It is like almost broken. I don't know. Look, it's funny. Look it up and see what could have been a really good game, and then Hollywood just like tries to crank it out in a year, so it's no development or anything. It's just
movie tie-in games are never good.
Never.
All right. Speaking of games that probably aren't good, we have Lego Ninjago, Shadow of Ronin for the 3DS and the PS Vita. Game of the year, Neil?
Absolutely. I know it's hard for mobile games to compete against the consoles, but I think this one can do it.
I think it can too, dude. Shadow of Ronin's been one that we've been marked on the calendar for a while.
You love Lego games, though. Lego superhero games?
The only one I've liked is Lego Marvel Superheroes.
Okay.
So, that's it.
So that's a very specific Lego game.
So you're wrong. I liked Lego game. Yeah, but whatever. Anyway, so we got 2 big releases coming out this week. First, the Borderlands Handsome Collection. I don't know why that says episode 2, Neil, but Borderlands the Handsome Collection comes out for the Xbox One and the PS4.
I typed that. I did type that.
These games are fantastic. I've played both. I know you never played the pre-sequel, but they're so good. And Borderlands is one of my favorite series. So this is cool. This is something I'm not buying tomorrow, but I'll probably buy over the summer once it's like $30, and just to have and to play. So interesting, right, Neil? What's your comments on that?
My comment is that it's another remastered game. It's
the pre-sequel is never. I mean, like, it just came out, you know.
Which makes it even worse.
No, I feel like it's okay because like the all right, Borderlands 2 that's completely remastered, fine. But the pre-sequel came out in October for the PS3, and this isn't like as much as a remaster. It's like of a delay. You know, like they're like, let's just get this out on the PS3 and then we'll work on the PS4. That's what I feel.
Let me ask you this then. So do you not feel cheated at all that you bought it on the PS3?
I bought it on the PC, and no, because I
Oh,
really wanted to play it, and I got 25 hours out of it. But
but imagine how much more you'll play it. We talked about this
I'm
and we
going to play it
kind
a
of
lot.
plan on
Yeah,
playing it in the summer when there's a
yeah,
drought, when we expect there to be a drought, and this is one of those games that you can just play kind of nightly, do a couple missions, and just hang
yep,
out with people. So
yep.
I'm looking forward to it because I never got to play
We'll play the
two.
pre-sequel first. We'll play through that because I didn't do most of the side missions or anything, and I want to play as a different character, so I'm interested. And plus, I really don't feel that bad because it comes with all the DLC.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
like that's like $20 right there. And like if you just say, all right, I'm paying for the pre-sequel DLC for $20, and then you want to say the other 40 is Borderlands 2 remastered, I would buy that anyway. You know what I mean? So together, like it's not bad.
I mean, the thing is that it's like these games you can like you played Borderlands 2 for over 200 hours, so it's not like you're getting ripped off if you get
Yes.
this collection.
I
It's
think
just
Borderlands 2 is my most played game ever, right behind Animal Crossing New Leaf, which
yeah.
always
So
gets a laugh.
um, so in that regard, like it is a good collection, but it's just there's so many collections out you can't help but like start hating them. But it's not Borderlands' fault or
Hmm.
Gearbox or anything. It's
No.
because if there was a game to be remastered, I'm okay with this because it is like these are good games. We're bringing them to the PS4, and then there's other games that are like being remastered that no one really wants or no one
Yeah.
really cares about yet. But this is one
Alan
that
Wake.
yeah, this is one that's going to do well. I think like there are
Me
games that are
too.
going to be
I think this
remastered
would do really well, especially because not that many people played the pre-sequel. So
because I think a lot of people kind of saw it coming
yeah,
for the PS4.
yeah. Well, not me. All right. So now getting down to the big release of the week, Hyperdimension no Tsunya Tsuyu First. Now,
Oh my god, one of those did come
Bloodborne
out
comes out
recently.
again. It just came out.
I'm gonna see if I can find it. It's you go on.
Bloodborne's out, which is cool. The review embargo, we don't have much to report because it doesn't end until 3 hours. Not that we're reviewing it, it's just that other people review it. We can look at those for you. But it looks cool. It looks really cool if you're into Souls games. It looks really cool if you have a PS4 and you're looking for something to play because it's been hyped as one of the big exclusives. From what I hear, it's really good, and I'm expecting it to get pretty good scores critically and be the first PS4 exclusive that didn't just fall on its face. Well, I mean, around this time last year you had Infamous, but like that was just a good game, not a great game. But
Yeah,
yeah,
even that was a letdown in its
yeah.
own way. And
That's
this,
like you finished the story and the side missions, and the world was just empty. There was nothing to do.
I mean, they did better than the other ones when, well, 2 had the online mode, which was really good. The first one had nothing. This one, there's like, people kept building compounds that you could take down, so that was kind of fun. But you're right. Though the DLC fixed that in the way that there's almost never ending horde survival mode kind of thing, which is really
Okay.
fun, which you haven't played First Light yet, I don't
Nope,
think.
I haven't played it.
So that's actually really fun to play. But Bloodborne is going to be. I don't want to say it's going to be automatically a good game because I think people. Not a great game. I mean, it's definitely going to be a good game. I can't see unless if it's a buggy mess that somehow games just keep coming out like that. But there was an interview with the director, and he said that every person has like a vendetta to make sure there's nothing wrong, and they will like sit there and work on every single bug because that's just the way they work. Like they don't like if there's a single bug, they won't be like, oh, I'll get to that tomorrow. They're like, I need to fix this before I can go home. So
Yeah.
I think it's going to be an extremely well-made game. It's interesting in the fact that like Dark Souls and everything is about dying, and
Yeah.
and someone wrote an article about this. I'm trying to remember. I wish I could quote it. I think it was Kotaku, someone, maybe Cousin McDonald. But so and like Dark Souls is all about dying. Like you try not to die. You play defensively. If you die, you have to get back there to get your stuff back. Bloodborne, which has the same premise, I think you recharge your health by attacking people, so it puts you always on the offensive. So like so even if it's a Dark Souls game, it's got the whole atmosphere. It's kind of switched from like a medieval type of game to more like a fantasy, sci-fi, dark fiction kind of game. I shouldn't have said sci-fi, just a fantasy type of dark game, and it's going to be different.
Yeah,
So
where's sci-fi come to play?
Well, I'm afraid people are gonna play the game and be like, it's not Dark Souls because it's gonna feel the controller is gonna be different. I can just see that coming. That people are gonna be like, look, it's not Dark Souls. It's the same. It has the same premise. It's kind of like it, but you
Yeah,
gotta play it differently. And I think once people grasp that, they're gonna like it a lot more.
fair. I'm interested to see. I'll probably play eventually. Um, I never played any of the Souls games, so I can't really say I'm overly excited for it.
Yeah, like
But
it's
I do think it looks.
yeah, same here. I mean, like it's I never played the Dark Souls game. They didn't seem interesting to me. Bloodborne, it looks interesting. I'm not hooked on it yet because it doesn't look like my type of game exactly. It looks like a game that I would play like in the summer, get it on sale. It's also it seems like one of those games that you get and you can never relax while you're playing them. Like it always seems like creepy,
No, it's true.
intense, and like you could die at any moment. So like I feel like it's gonna be like, oh, I'm not gonna get this game and just like, you know what I mean? It's like a horror game. We have to grip the controller. I'm not ready for that yet, Steve. I need more relaxing games.
All right, Neil, we'll get that for you. All right, so that's what's coming out this week. Some things that are interesting. I think.
I think. Considering some of the past weeks we've had, excluding Lego and like the free Forza Horizon
Yeah.
add-on, basically, Life is Strange, Borderlands, Bloodborne, Slender's got like that cult following that people really like.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember when the girl killed 2 people in the forest and she said the Slender Man told her to do it?
Yeah, I remember that.
That was terrifying.
Why do we have to bring that up now, Neil?
But I just remembered it. So Slender, he'll get you. He'll do it.
He'll do it. Now, leading from that lovely story into the news, before we start, I'd like to say that we love the service, Core Gamer, for providing us with some news stories to use. So if you guys, want to be on top of the news, check them out on Twitter. It's Core Gamer with a K, so Kore. Gamer, you know how to spell that, I hope. So, all right, what do we got here? We have Adam Sandler's Pixels, which sounds a little bit dirty.
It's a little bit.
Neil, tell me what happened when you first saw Adam Sandler's Pixels.
So when I watched it,
Yeah.
sat completely stone-faced, didn't utter a single thing, didn't like no emotion, no laughing,
Did you crack a smile? Or?
not even one, just like dead stare at it. And once it ended, just like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it seemed like it.
It looks so bad. I can't. You have to watch the trailer. If you haven't seen this trailer, go on and watch it. It's got Adam Sandler and Kevin James, and he's being loud and physical humor, and Adam Sandler is doing his voices. And then there's oh man, Peter Dinklage, who's got a mullet, and it's great. It's great in the way that this is going to be one of those like movies that just proves video games cannot be movies or taken seriously in movies at all.
This is just what the industry needs.
It's going to be absolutely awful. It's one of those it's one of those movies that makes me wonder if halfway through they realize it's terrible and they're just kind of locked into it at that point and just got to ride it out, or they really don't know.
Well, I mean, the second Adam Sandler signed up, they knew it was going to be terrible, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It looks cool. You know what? I'll say that. It's got some really cool
effects.
Yeah, it absolutely does. All the pixels and whatnot.
Really? There's pixels in this movie.
There are pixels, and it's one of those things that's like, I guess, working on the nostalgia of like old games. So like stuff for me, I don't really care. Mm-hmm. Like seeing Centipede or whatever isn't going to do anything for me. But
really, that does it for me, Neil. That is my turn on.
But so it's one of those things that
I like you didn't even comment on that.
just moving forward. Watch the trailer, see how horrible it is. Do not pay money to see that movie. We have to get the message somehow to have Adam Sandler maybe not stop making movies, but start putting some effort into it a little bit.
Well, don't count your chickens. Let me tell you, they ain't hatching. All right. Adam Sandler's Pixels, 2 thumbs down. For sure. So, Sony filed their third trademark for The Last Guardian, which means that I guess this is still coming out. Or
It's fun to report on because
yeah, because
there's no news, but this happens every now and then, and just the internet goes crazy again. It's like there's nothing new. There's just
you
they're
know,
not letting it go.
I'd like to make a prediction.
Okay,
We're seeing Last Guardian at E3.
you think so?
I say we're seeing Last Guardian at E3. I think that this game is shown at E3 and it comes out at the end of 2016, November 2016. We're seeing it. It's finally happening, Neil. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why, Neil. I'm going to tell you why.
Tell me why.
Let me tell you, Neil. So, The Last Guardian gets shown for the PS3. It gets delayed because of something internally. Then Sony goes, hey guys, PS4 is coming out. Just put this thing on the back shelf. So they say, all right, whatever. We'll just put this on the back shelf and I'm going to think about it, right? So then, once the PS4 dev kits come out, they start hitting it. They take forever to make games anyway, so they've only had a PS4 dev kit since, let's say, 3 years ago. So the 2012. So that coming out the fall of next year would be like a 4-year cycle. I think that basically this has been in development for the PS4 since they got their development kits for the PS4 3 years ago. It comes out at the end of next year, and we're going to see it in E3. And that's the reason that's been dormant for so long, because what they had in mind, either they were going to take a while to do on the PS3, or they said, we can't do what we want on the PS3. We're just going to wait. Because they're all about telling the story that they want. So that's my prediction, Neil. I think we see it at E3 for the first time. And I actually think that if you want more of a prediction, I think it opens Sony's conference. That's what I think. Because if they opened and they just mic drop and it's just like, hey, Last Guardian trailer, boom. You win it right there. They know that, they need to do that because their exclusives, I mean, hopefully Bloodborne will be good, have been pretty lackluster. So, and there's no exclusive between now and then for anyone to be playing, so, other than Bloodborne. What do you think, Neil? Do you think we ever see it, or do you think it's gone?
So that's a very detailed explanation, and I think you actually got some solid thought behind that. And that I really thought you were just going to say something dumb, like, because you file it for the third time, you gotta have the development. E3 into the third. I was expecting something way less complicated than that. But you impressed me. I think you might be onto something in that they may have started it and was like, hey, look, this isn't working out. We need to figure a way around this. And they're like, hey, look, the PS4 is coming out. Try it on this. And like, oh, this is cool, but it's not working quite right. We need some more time.
Yeah.
And then they're just kind of like, it's taken a lot of time to do it. But I know we talked about this before, I think, at once, and I'm kind of leaning towards this, is that, well, I guess it's still going to be The Last Guardian, but we were saying it's going to be almost a completely different game. Like, it's going to be a whole new trailer, whole new everything.
Know if that, like, Griffin or whatever they showed in the trailer, I don't know if that's still in there. I just think it releases under the name The Last Guardian because it has so much the clout attached to it now. It's like almost like Half-Life 3. Like, if you said, like, if anyone, in the video game world, everyone knows what it is and it's delayed. If they were like, oh, this is coming out, you would get so much buzz. And you would not get the same buzz if you're like, by the way, this used to be called The Last Guardian, but now it's called this, Yeah,
I don't see any reason to trade it. It would be, they would drop the trademark probably too and just let it die and then just reveal the game and people would go crazy. And so it's possible to see it at E3. I don't think so. I can't see it happening. And I don't know. But it would be crazy. If they lead with it, that would immediately set the internet like on fire. Everyone would just tune into the Sony conference. That would nail it. You're right.
Take that, Kim Kardashian.
Yeah. Not break the internet. It would set it on fire.
Yes. Sony is just an arsonist in the internet world. So, Kojima might have left Konami, I guess. Something happened. I have a theory about this too, Neil.
All right. I want to hear it.
So they're removing his name from everything. So basically, my theory is that Kojima is parking in the president's spot. All right? and He didn't like that. So he's like, hey, Koji, my man, come in here. They get into a bit of a fracas, and Kojima gets fired. How do you like that, Neil? I know you said that my last Guardian prediction was right on point. So what do you think about this one?
I think you might be on point. I think there was a little bit of a fight club. Like,
fracas?
Kojima punched himself a lot.
Yeah.
And then got fired with like a lot of relief pay. But
So
I think you could be onto something. Let me tell you what I think is happening.
I think I'm right.
I think Kojima wants to stop making Metal Gear Solid, and
No.
Konami's like, "There's no way you're ever gonna stop making that game. You have to make it for the rest of your life." And he's like, "I'm going to leave, and you won't be able to make it anymore." And they're like, "Okay, get out of here, and we're going to take your name off everything." And Konami has already said that they will continue to make Metal Gear Solid games for the foreseeable future, and they're probably not going to be with Kojima. So that's what I think is happening. I think they don't want to lose Metal Gear Solid, because I can't really name another Konami game that's doing really well right now, or series.
Certainly not their soccer game, but go on.
So I think Metal Gear Solid is literally what they bank on, and they're not going to let that go. And I think Kojima, who says he's done with it after almost every game, he said it's going to be his last one. I think this really is going to be his last one, and I think he wants to work on Silent Hills. With
Norman Reedus.
Right, which I don't know what's going to happen with that now.
Reedus is like, he's like, well, what's going on, guys? Like, the main man left. What are we gonna do?
Yeah, so I it's hard to say this early because it's all so quiet.
Yeah.
But I don't think. I don't know. It's hard to say if I can't see Silent Hill as being canceled.
Me either. No,
because it's got so much hype. People loved it.
It came out to great response.
Yeah, so I don't see it being canceled, but I don't know if it'll be the same without him. I don't know how much he did, if he detailed the whole game, or if it was still like he had it in his mind, but it was like on the back of it as he's working on Metal Gear Solid, or maybe he's just kind of like a little overseer and they put his name on it, but he's really not that into it, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, so it's hard to say for sure.
Like when like you get set up for a double date with your friend, like technically you're her date, but you're not really into it. You know what I mean?
I got you. That's a good way to do it.
Neil, would you call me a video gamer? Would you say that I like video games?
I think I would.
Now, what did it surprise you that as a video gamer, I've never played a Metal Gear Solid, and I've never played a Final Fantasy.
And you've never played a Resident Evil.
No, I've never played Resident Evil either. That's a good point.
I've
also never seen a Lord of the Rings movie.
I like to describe you as a Nintendo gamer.
Yeah.
A Nintendo gamer and an FPS gamer that is starting to dive into the rest of them. That's.
I think so.
You don't think so?
No, I like action games. Like I've always liked God of War, and you know that led me to playing Bayonetta and stuff like that. So I like action games. I don't know. I liked RPGs.
Maybe it's just, I don't know. Metal Gear Solid, I only got into it because it happened to be like the one game at my friend's house that we haven't played yet, so we just put it in, kind of thing. You know, when you and your friend put it in real quick and play some video games.
Because it's the only thing you haven't played yet. You just put it in.
So I don't think because I was really young when I played it. I had no idea what was going on. It was extremely confusing. I don't know how. I really don't know how I beat it for the kind of game it was. And so I think this is just getting worse, Neil.
You're really young. You didn't know what was going on. You don't even know how you beat it. All right, continue. Watch your words.
I'll work on it.
Yeah.
So, as I was laying down in the dark,
with my pants down, playing this game we've never played before. Go on.
It's a game that you have to play the first one to kind of understand what's going on in the series. So I think if you miss the first couple, it's hard to jump right in. Okay. And since it started so long ago, usually the older people like it, like gamers older than us.
Yeah.
Or people that went back and played the first one.
Okay.
Some collection. So that's why I get if you missed it, you didn't want to jump in.
Yeah, I missed the boat.
And you haven't really gone back to play the early ones or whatever, even though there are remastered collections somewhere about it. So, but I think you would enjoy it a lot. The gameplay gets so much better as the games go on, and so like it's like the first two are really tough. It's not really it's not even like an action game. It's more like I know it's a stealth game, but like killing two people at once is tough. Like it's real hard. And then in the fourth one, it becomes like a third-person shooter, but still stealth. And so the fifth one's gonna look real good. But
and we actually got a request to play that together.
we did the online, which I absolutely loved. In 4, it was just called Metal Gear Online, and it was one of the toughest multiplayers I've played. And the game coming out, Phantom Pain, it has like a new kind of twist on online.
It's got a twist.
It's something about like there's not much revealed about it,
Like,
but it has to do with bases and like you invade other people's bases and stuff. So I don't know if that's like a kind of like a meta game like Last of Us with your clans. Like it doesn't really matter. You're just playing game modes and something's going on in the background. But I'm looking forward to it, and it sucks. And the good news is Kojima is still going to develop Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain. Like he's finishing that with them, and that's coming out in September, so that's pretty soon.
And then it's piecing.
And then he's just gonna be like, "Yeah, I'm out of here." And he's the kind of guy that the second he leaves, which he kind of is, he's left, but he's still kind of got some ties there. Once he's like cut all ties, any company will pick him up immediately.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Like without a doubt, he's the kind of person that like, I bet Microsoft is probably gonna try to steal him because they need.
Go on. I was gonna say I feel like he would go to Sony just because he has a longer connection to Sony, with the whole. First of all, it's being a Japanese company, and second, Metal Gear games used to just come out on PlayStation.
Yeah, and and that makes sense, and that's why I'm wondering if you will go to Sony and just work for another Sony company. But I think Microsoft is going to want to steal him because he's the kind of person Microsoft doesn't have. You know what I mean? Like he's the kind of person that could develop a game
that would
Japanese
just guy. I got you.
Yeah, that would sell systems in Japan more, sell them here more because people love them, but that's saying every company's going. What if he goes to Nintendo? What if he makes strict Nintendo only games?
Imagine that would be amazing.
That would be absolutely horrible. Wasted talent.
That would be so good. Mario Gear Solid.
That's terrible.
All right. So he left. So they broke up. The best things don't work forever. Just ask my ex-girlfriend. Moving on. Rainbow Six Siege. That's a little bit of a tongue twister. That came out with a gameplay video that was leaked. So not supposed to come out, of some pre-alpha gameplay, which I watched. Neil didn't.
I did not watch. How'd it look?
It looked cool. It looked awesome. It looked, like what we saw in that CGI trailer that they released, I think last E3. Like being able to shoot through walls and they splinter or whatever, and being able to shoot through ceilings and floors, and doing protecting a hostage, that gameplay. And it looked like Rainbow Six, where it's more tactical and a couple bullets kill you, and you have all your cool gadgets to try and find people. So I thought it looked really promising. I loved, one of my favorite FPS games is Rainbow Six Vegas 2, which is the last console release they did. So I'm excited for this.
You've talked about that, I think, for the past 3 podcasts. Yep. How much you've loved since the Valentine's Day because of the co-op in it.
Yeah, it's so good, man. It's so good.
So this looks great. The one trailer I did see, I loved every second of it. I'm gonna watch this once the podcast is over because it looks like such a fun game.
It does. It looks like such a fun game to play with a group of friends, 4 friends, which we've been doing with Call of Duty and having a great time with. But that actually working together, kind of like in The Last of Us when we did that. So
yeah, and it's also take Evolve, because we're that's another multiplayer basic game, main game, and that kind of you needed friends because you needed such teamwork that without anybody else it kind of sucked. I think Rainbow Siege 6, while it's going to be great with friends, I think it's the game that you could still be by yourself, and you'd probably
You could
still have
load
a lot of
it.
fun with it, because
Yeah,
it's still like you could be the sniper in the back watching the house, and you might not have as much communication, but you can still do your job. It's not like you have to be healing them or doing a task, and if you miss something.
Yeah, it's definitely got a lot of potential to be a good game. I have a lot of confidence in them. The Rainbow Six games always have been quality games. I don't think they ever scored poorly. They were on PC for a while, then a few came out on the original Xbox and PS2, and then they kind of hit their stride for the PS3 with Rainbow Six Vegas and Vegas 2. So it'd be cool. It'd be cool to have that game back in there. An Ubisoft competitive multiplayer shooter. So anyway, so it looks like Gravity Rush, the PlayStation Vita game, is getting remastered for the PlayStation 4.
Possibly.
Another remaster, possibly. I played Gravity Rush. It's really, really good. It justified my purchase of a Vita. It was that good. It's just a fun, like, action game with a really, really cool mechanic that never gets old throughout the entirety of the game. It's got a good difficulty curve that, like, forces you to mix in more combos and stuff as you unlock them to be effective. And it's got a really cool aesthetic to it. And I think it'd be a really nice addition to the PS4 library, especially because there's a second one coming out, which I think is going to release on the PS4. So, this is, I think, a good opportunity for people to play the first one and get excited about the second one. So, again, this is something we might be seeing at E3. So, I know, Neil, you're interested in playing it.
I've been trying to get to play Gravity Rush for as long as it came out. Like, the day it came out, I really want to play it. I looked up PS Vitas on, like, Craigslist for, like, a couple weeks. I didn't want to pay. At that time, they were, like, $250. And I really just didn't want to pay that. But I really wanted to play the game. And at the same time, I was just kind of had this hope that, like, it would come to the PS4 or PS3 maybe at that time. Eventually, some kind of port like that. And then when I heard that there was going to be a Gravity Rush 2, and they were kind of hinting that it might be PS4, I started thinking even more that they're going to remake this game, because it's a good game that I think everyone likes, but no one really played it, and so they want to really get it out there, which is an interesting point that I want to ask you. Do you think this is ruining the Vita? Like, a lot of people say the Vita needs to get...
The Vita's ruined already.
Okay. Because you know
No
what...
one cares about it.
Well, that's what they say. They say you have to get them good games, because originally there was the Uncharted title that came out on it. There was a Metal Gear game that came out on it. The Killzone title, Gravity Rush. They tried to push all these Vita-only games.
We are the target audience for a Vita. We both love PlayStation. I had one for 3 months. I played all the games I wanted to, and I sold it. You've never gotten one. What does that tell you about the Vita? It's just destined not to do well. The games on it are not enticing enough. And, like, there's no third-party support anymore. The only stuff that comes out on it now are indies and these weird, pervy Japanese games. So, I mean, like, there's a couple cool games out there. I have a Vita TV in case anything does come out. Like, I might eventually play Freedom Wars on that. I'm playing Persona 5 or Persona 4. Guys, I got Persona 5 already. But it's dead. It's not good. And it boggles my mind. Like, Colin Moriarty of IGN, he says it's the best console ever.
Yeah, and Greg Miller. They love it. They
I don't
love it so
understand.
much.
How could you say that? Like, it doesn't have one game that can stand up to any game on any other platform. It has no games on it.
Those are his exact type of games. If you like the indie retro JRPGs, which I do like the JRPGs, but there's still, it's not enough. But now with a Vita TV, I think that's going to give those games another life that deserve it, the ones that are good enough. But I don't know. I'm not a mobile gamer in general. It took forever for me to get a 3DS, and that has good games.
You're loving it.
I am loving it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's amazing that, like, they say that the 3DS has no library. I'm like, you're insane. Fire Emblem Awakening is better than anything that ever came out on the Vita, and everything that will come out on the Vita. Bravely Default is better than anything that's going to come out on the Vita. And like, it's crazy. Like, the Vita it doesn't have it. Like, I think that between that, I mean, the PSP was successful, but I think that it's proven the point that a portable gaming console does not have to mimic a home console. It should have its own thing. You know what I mean? Like it does. Like going for the dual stick console level graphics approach, I don't think works. I think that, you know, especially now that, like, how many people are bringing that around? And if you're playing that in your house, you're like, well, you know, there's nothing different between this and a console. Why don't I just play my console on my TV? So I think that's the root of the problem. Whereas, like, you're playing the 3DS and, like, those games, I think, are different enough from what you get on the Wii U console that you still want to play it. You know, like, for example, I mean, obviously, Pokemon. That doesn't come out anywhere else. You're only going to play that on your 3DS. Or something like Fire Emblem, which doesn't... I mean, there have been console ones, but there hasn't been one since 2006. So, I think that's the issue, really. Like, you can't go after a home console experience. You have to make it its own thing. So, I'd be really interested to see if PlayStation or Sony ever releases another handheld.
I completely agree. That's always been my thing, that you can't replicate it. That's what they were trying so hard. There was all this cross-buy. You could buy a game on PS4. Yeah. You could continue it on the bus. On the PS Vita, they had that baseball commercial for forever. Mm-hmm. And as cool as that is, it's just like you want the big TV experience. Like, I could not imagine playing like a shooter or something on that. I would play turn-based games, little indie games. Like, that's what it's for. Games like that on the handheld. And those work best on it. And the people who like those kind of games are more likely to get the handheld. They're not going to buy, like... Mm-hmm. So that's the whole... issue, is that I think they're starting to realize that too. I think they're realizing, oh, no one really wants to play Killzone on the PS Vita. They want to play Freedom Wars or something like that.
Even not Uncharted. That Uncharted game is good. Like, a Golden Abyss is a good game. But the entire time I was playing it, I was like, I wish this just like came out on the PS3. You know?
Yeah.
That's the problem with it. Because, like, I think that is the bottom line problem. No matter what game you're playing on the Vita, you're going to say to yourself, I wish this just came out on the PS3 or PS4, whereas when you're playing like a 3DS game, it's got so many more games that you're like, well, this is great for this platform. Like, you know, the turn-based RPG, nowadays you just throw Netflix on the background, and you're like, turn-based RPG is perfect, you know? Bravely Default is the perfect game to watch something and play at the same time, because you can take your time or whatever. You don't have that many experiences that you're like, oh, I wish this was on the console, you know? And that's the thing. And I think it might be time to just concede the handheld market to Nintendo. Like, they make good handhelds. They've always made good handhelds. Just let them do that, you know? That's their bread and butter. Speaking of Nintendo and handhelds, they said, you know, they're going to release some gaming IPs on smartphones. So they made it very clear that this isn't going to be new. I mean, this isn't going to be existing games ported to smartphones. These are going to be new games with existing characters. So, and at the same time, I'll get this out of the way now. Because they said this and they made this announcement, they announced that, yes, we're making a new console codenamed NX. And basically the only reason they say that is just so that no one sees this announcement and goes, oh my god, like, is Nintendo getting out of the console market? They just want to say, hey, we're expanding our business to smartphones, but we're still concentrated on our home consoles because, look, we're making another one. But I don't want to spend too long on this, but I want to ask you, what kind of game on your phone would you want to see using Nintendo characters? I have a couple in my head I've been thinking about.
I could not care less about any of this. I barely play any phone games at all. I think it would be cool if they came up with a creative...
See, that's what I think. Like, I was thinking, Nintendo is so good at seeing an existing concept and innovating it to the fact that it's perfected. Like, you know what I mean? Like with a side scroller, or like with the original Mario. That I would love to see their take. I'll tell you something that's guaranteed, and that's a endless runner using Mario. That'll guarantee come out.
Absolutely.
And I'd like to see what they do with it. You know, like they probably have some cool concepts that they could do with that. With all the power-ups that he had and all that. And what else was I saying? A puzzle, like some sort of puzzle game using Link, like leading him, like using swipes to lead him through a dungeon or whatever. And like
wasn't Dr. Mario like a Tetris game?
Yes, Dr. Mario. Yeah, I was thinking that too. That could definitely come out. That's a really fun game.
I
I
think
have
there's
got
going to be like some Pokemon pet kind of game, and
well, there's a free to play game on the 3DS called Pokemon Shuffle, which is
yeah.
it's really popular right now. That'll come out. That's just like a Bejeweled clone, where or it's more like a Candy Crush clone because like you have a certain amount of lives,
Oh,
and
okay.
basically like you have a certain amount of moves, and you have to build up a bar within those moves, and if you build the bar up, you catch the Pokemon. That's how the level would scale. So it's a pretty cool concept. I think that's perfect for a phone, stuff like that. I think it'll be interesting to see what they come out with. I'm with you. Like, I'm not a big phone gamer, but like, I think this is something like I love Nintendo enough where like if they're like, hey, like Mario Endless Runner, I'll download it and give it a try. You know?
I think that it's doing it in a way that there's not going to be any revolutionary
Yeah.
games, but they're
I think
just licensing
yeah.
the characters to be used in those type of games.
I think it's really smart though because this is
Oh
going
yeah,
it's going to make them a ton of money, which is the
absolutely.
most important thing. So
Because now it's going to be, instead of a parents buying their kid
mhm.
a Wii U, they're going to be like, look here, use my phone to play this little Mario $5 game, and the little kid will be fine
and
with it.
and what happens after that? The kid goes, I like this game. Mommy, can I get a Wii U?
Yeah, so
They don't have
it gets them hooked even quicker.
Yep, it hooks you in. It says like, oh, like this game's weird. Like, what are all these characters? Let's say it's like Animal Crossing, or whatever. Oh, like mom, can I get a 3DS so I could play Animal Crossing on the 3DS? Okay, sure. That's a purchase for them. I think it's a really smart idea, and I think that out of the three console manufacturers, they're the only one with characters like that are good enough to actually do this. Like, if Sony started doing this, it was like, hey, like Uncharted's puzzle adventure, or whatever. Like it wouldn't be the same.
Yeah, you're right. They're almost caricatures,
Yeah,
so
they're,
it works.
Like Kirby games. You could have. I was thinking of a Kirby game where you like tilt your phone to roll them around a like a level to go through a puzzle or something. Stuff like
Yeah,
that.
it's going to be stuff like that, I bet.
It'll be simple stuff. It'll be the typical formula of like, here's a level, get 3 stars. You know what I mean? Like the cut the
Yeah.
rope kind of thing. So I think that you'll see a bunch of that. But I'll be interested to see what they do with it. But all right, so that's the news. Once again, thanks to Core Gamer for providing us with some of those stories. So we'll move on to what we've been playing. Neil, tell us about your big purchase this week.
Which one?
Final Fantasy Type 0.
Okay, that one. So, Final Fantasy Type 0
You
was a
purchased
game...
Ori in the Blind Forest like 2 weeks ago.
No, it was like last week.
2 weeks ago.
Last week. 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago. You're right. You're right, Steve. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Don't hate me.
It was on the last podcast, is what I'm saying. So go on.
Okay, so Final Fantasy Type 0 is the game I got by selling Evolve, which is the greatest thing of all time.
Yes.
It was a PS Vita game, maybe PSP, I think. It came with a Final Fantasy 15 demo, which I'll talk about in a bit. But what this game is known for is being one of the, I think it might be the only M-rated Final Fantasy game.
Oh, really?
And the opening involves like people being set on fire, like kids dying, and it's like
Chocobo gets burned.
and yeah, it's like a slow death of a chocobo with a person like dying on his back and stuff like that, and it's like blood everywhere. Like, it's a really gruesome graphic game, which is awesome. I really like it. The graphics aren't, since it's an HD port of a...
You would, sicko.
Well, it's like you play fantasy RPGs and like, you know, someone gets stabbed and it flashes away and they fall on the ground and it's like, that's it. Like, this is like, there was a bomb that went off and 2 people were like rolling on the ground in agony as a person's trying to get away from these evil people, and like, so it's really, you feel the war immediately. Like, you can really, it sets that mood that this place was invaded. They're trying to defend it. It's typical magic versus guns kind of thing. Some people use, one military power uses guns and machines, and other people use magic. And the story is very convoluted. I haven't gotten very far in it, and it's a horror game in the sense that, well, you'll use this with Bravely Default, kind of, is that nowadays when you level up one person, everyone kind of gets leveled up because it kind of made it easier. In this game, that's not the case. One person, you have a 3-person party, and you have 13 playable characters, and only the people in your party level up. And it's a hard game, and you need to level up every person, so you have to take the time to level up all 13 people. And there's basically 2 main gameplay types. There's you're like walking around your base, like doing little missions, talking to people, getting the story. Like, you talk to someone and they'll tell you a little background story or something happening. And then there's your mission. It's like you're a squad with a commander, and you're like the top squad. It's a military school, and it's all classes. So it's like class 1 through 13, and you're class 0, which is like a secret class that's better than everybody else. That was like a myth or something like that. So it's a little cheesy, but it's cool when like everyone kind of, they're either snarky to you or they think you're like a hero if you talk to them. But when you
I
actually
can be
but when you actually play the game, it's more action oriented, like Kingdom Hearts. The mechanic is that you have to counters do a lot, and then there's like you have different types of weapons and stuff like that. So it's cool, it's tough. I just kind of started playing it, but the real reason I got it was to play the Final Fantasy 15 demo, which I could talk about forever. I'm not going to, but it exceeded my expectations. It did cause me some worries. It's well,
and we have a video on our YouTube of a boss battle if you'd like to watch that, guys.
Yeah, the boss is a behemoth, and it involves the summon, which everyone is talking about, which is one of the coolest summons that has been in Final
watched
Fantasy.
That. It was cool. Speaking of summons, we forgot to mention how cool summons in Kingdom Hearts are.
Oh, I never care about them. I like never use them.
But they're so cool. You like call in like
Simba
or Mushu or Tinkerbell. Like there's some really Mushu coming in is really funny. There's some good ones. But go on.
Tinkerbell is really good in that game. There was also Chicken Little, which was probably the worst thing in the entire world.
Chicken Little was the worst. You're right.
Okay, I always forget that movie exists.
I think that's because that. I think that movie came out around the release, and they're like, we'll just throw Chicken Little in there.
Yeah, if you get to summon and not like an actual world, they're like, yeah, we'll throw you a bone and we'll make you like a playable character, kind of. And so, Final Fantasy 15, it's the space they give you is huge. It's the graphics are incredible. The gameplay is really fun. I'm still working on it. Some people, it's kind of simplistic in a way where all you have to do is hold down one button and you'll do all the automatic combos, or you can press it individually, and by pointing in different directions, you'll use different weapons. And then there's also techniques you can use with the press of a button, and those use MP. Mm-hmm. And your MP, you can dodge, which also uses MP, but it automatically recharges. So you have to like, do I use this technique or do I like use it as defense? So there's that kind of thing going on. What I really like about it is some of the battles can get so hectic, and the AI's interaction overall is incredible. Like I was injured, like pretty low on health, but not like almost dying, and like so I got hit to the ground, and one of the characters ran over and stood in front of me, and any enemy that came near, like he would defend me as I was trying to like get back up. And if you get caught by like an enemy, like he grabs you or something, another character will like punch him away, and then you do like it sounds so lame, but you do this cool like fist bump move, and it's just like it's really natural kind of thing. It sounds so dumb, but it's interaction like that.
You're right, it does sound dumb.
If you do like a counter, you might like knock some dude's foot out, and another one of your teammates will come in and like finish him off. And there's all these cool little things like that, and just the way it's done, you can tell it's put a lot of like thought into it. Like the camera doesn't just sit still. It was like there was a cutscene, and the camera was like very intricately and theatrically just like zooming around and panning around, and like it was doing all these cool cuts. Like it looks more like a well-made film than just like all these people that talk and just like keep the camera still, watch their mouths move. So I'm really looking forward to it. The presentation's really well done. I really enjoy the fighting. There's some issues with it, like I kept like running into my own character, so I couldn't get to some of the enemies. The frame rate in the demo at least is atrocious, like maybe 10 frames at some point, where it's almost impossible. But they should fix those technical hiccups, I hope, before. But I've played 5 hours of it at least, and it takes like 2 to beat it. So I just keep messing around and playing. I think I see people beat the final boss at like, I don't know, like level 15 or 18. I think I'm like level 35 right now. I just like keep leveling up really quickly. So I'm absolutely loving it. I can't wait for the game, which probably isn't going to come out for another 2 years. But it's a good purchase if you like Final Fantasy. Type 0 is a fun game, and the demo, worth playing. For Ori and the Blind Forest, which I'm playing, I won't talk about because I've already talked about it a lot. I did beat it. It was extremely frustrating at certain points, but I did love it. I highly recommend playing it. Just understand you're going to get mad at some points. All right. But that's it for me. Sorry for the rant. I have a feeling I know what you've been playing, Steve, but why don't you tell me?
I don't have much to say. I'm playing Codenames Theme. I'm on mission 12 of 15. I'm extremely enjoying it, and I highly recommend it. But I went on my soapbox yesterday.
Okay, I was gonna say, do you hate everyone that doesn't like it?
I hate everyone that doesn't like it. It's really, really good.
Will you play Valkyria Chronicles after you beat this game and need more of a fix?
Probably.
I hope so. I really hope after you beat this, you go, I want to try Valkyria Chronicles. And then you're going to hate it because it's not going to be Codename Steam.
It's true. It doesn't. I mean, the personality in Codename Steam is off the charts.
Yeah, I'm sure that, like, really, really makes it. And
you should download the demo, which you still haven't done.
Which I still haven't done. I'm totally going to do that. I really am, because it's not like I don't have any other games to play, which I have a million to play. And there's too many. But the demo, like, if I want to see I want to feel what the gameplay is, so I know.
You want to feel what I feel, Neil.
I just want to be you. I just want to know you.
Yeah, well, you know, it's just one of those things that not all of us can do. All right, Neil. You know what time it is?
I think that's it, Steve. I want to take us away.
Take you away? It's time to make like a nose and run.
Oh! I want to know. All right, I want to know.
Yeah.
I want to see the sheet of paper you have at work.
That actually came out naturally. I was actually panicking because I forgot to come up with one, so that was on the spot.
Okay, well, I'm very impressed, but I still want to see, because you say you don't. You gotta have a sheet of paper at work where you just, like, you're working, you just come up with it, you get really excited, and you just, like, write it down. You have, like, a list of 10 things you're gonna say at the end of this podcast.
I do. I do that. It's better than working. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. I just yelled. No plan. All right. Thanks for joining us for the 9th Koalafied Gamer Guys podcast. You can find the podcast every Tuesday on our YouTube. While you're on our YouTube, you should subscribe. You're here. You found it. Hit the subscribe button. You'll get a little notification every time we post a video, whether it be a Let's Play or a gameplay highlight, me and Neil yelling at each other, or the podcast, which is me and Neil yelling at each other. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/qualifiedggs. What else we got here? Twitch is twitch.tv/qualifiedgamerguys. You're on our YouTube. Final little shout out to Core Gamer for providing us with some news. And, of course, the most importantly, is our friend Mike, who came up with our theme song. So if you like the theme song, head over to soundcloud.com/gearheadedm. If you have any questions for us or some comments, constructive feedback, or just want to be a dick to us, you can email us at qualifiedgamerguys@gmail.com. We'll read your question on air. We'll talk about it. We'll email you back. You might even get a signed picture of us. Stay posted to our Twitter. We have some contests every now and then. We gave away a free PlayStation 4 game this past week, so you might want to check that out. Anyway, that's all I got, Neil. Do you have anything? Am I forgetting something?
Oh, just break that like button, guys, and
break the like button.
Don't forget to check out our blog. You know.
Yeah. We got a blog.
Gonna get a Tumblr real soon, maybe an Elo. We're gonna be on the interwebs. Follow us on Snapchat.
What's our Elo?
We don't have an Elo, dude.
What we know we need to get on is Meerkat. We need to be like one of the first people on Meerkat.
That's what we're gonna do. I'm just gonna find like the newest social media things that no one's on and just get on those.
Hey, Meerkat's big.
Yeah, no, but I want to find other things.
All right, guys,
I want to find Bobcat.
Look for us on Meerkat. We'll be streaming something. I don't even know how that fucking works.